Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be building a beautiful animated authentication form using React hook form and Framer motion. You will learn how to create smooth transitions between login and registration views while keeping your forms clean and validated. Let's dive in. So this is an example of what we are going to be building today. So we'll have this section, then whenever you click on the login, it slides in. Same thing happens with register, login, register. Then for using the React hook form, you see if I click here, you see this is why we are going to be using the React hook forms. It's very easy to validate your forms. You don't have to write a bunch of codes. Just one line of code is enough for you to validate your form. So join me guys as I develop this. I have created a fresh Next.js application. You can use React in your own case. I just prefer to use Next.js. So let's install the needed dependencies, which is going to be the React hook form and the Framer motion. So install these two, then we'll continue. After the installation, then we can close this. I have my server running already on localhost 3000, and this is my main JS. If you are using React, you have app.js. So this is my folder structure. I have this app.js, and I've created a component. It's just this login, the main, and the register. This is just the three components we are going to be using. Then I have my logo and the background that we are going to use. You can use anything that you want in place of these two. Yeah. So let's get down to develop. So in the page.js, that's like app.js in your React, if you're using React, I have imported my background. So you can see what I have here. So yeah, this is exactly what is there. This is the background, and the background size to cover the whole page, and the position should be centered and no repeat. And then you have the class. The class is just the minimum height to be 100 view height. Then the width to be full width, flex items. This is just normal Tailwind CSS writings, and these are just my components. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll start with the page.js, where we are going to import some these things that we are going to need, some components that we are going to need. Going to import use state from React. I'm going to import animate presence from Framer motion. Animate presence and motion from Framer motion. Yeah, that is it. Then these ones that are here, and next we're going to create a state that will hold the active form. Since we are going to be switching from one form to the other, so we are going to create a state that is going to hold the one that is active. Const active form and set active form is equals to use state, and we'll have the default value to be null. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and create some functions. Const handle login click. So this is going to handle when the login has been clicked, then this function is going to run. So what it's going to just do is just going to update this state and tell it that it's login that was clicked. Then this state is going to be updated. Same thing we are going to do for the register. Just going to duplicate it and register click. Then we're going to write register. So you're just going to keep updating depending on which one that was clicked. That one is going to be the one to appear on the screen. Then you're going to do the logo click, because in the finished application, when you click on the logo, it takes you back to the home page per se, but not like home page. It takes you back to the initial state of the application. So here we are going to have the logo, then we just have to put back null, which is just going to take you back to the initial state of the application, which is null. Okay, so then the last function that we are going to have is, let me just duplicate this. We'll call it, you can call all these functions whatever you want. I'm just making up names. So we'll call it handle switch form. So now this is just going to maybe when you have the login, then you don't want to go back to the home page and click on register. Then you click on the register button. It's going to replace the login with the register. I don't know if I made sense there, but that is what this particular one is going to do. So you're just going to update it like this. Okay, so now go down to start making our designs. We have the functions, the imports, and every other thing that is there. So go down and start making our design. Okay, so I can comment this out. We are going to still need them later. Then create a div. If this is going to autocomplete for me. Yeah, so create a div with a class name, relative, w full, max width of 5 XL, and a height of 500 pixel. Next, we are going to make use of the animate present, and it's going to accept a prop of mode weight. Okay, then we'll have a div or I'm going to turn it to a motion div. Okay, I'm going to make it a motion div. Then inside the div we'll have a key. The template literals have main active form, shifted, else, centered. So what this here does is that this is very important in this case, because in animate presence or in framer motion as a whole, you need to have a key, especially when using animate present, to be able to differentiate between this particular section, this particular code with the other ones. So when you have the key, you are telling it, okay, this is the particular one I want to animate. Then this equation here is very simple, that this is like a name, in the name of the key of this particular animation. And it's going to check if the active form is true. If it's true, then it's going to change it to shifted. But if it is not true, maybe like it's null or false, then it's going to be centered. So let's continue. And have initial equals to animate active form. Active form. If active form is true, then we'll have let's x equals to 0. Else let's x minus 40%. And we'll have animate equals to x, the active form. As an active form is true, then we'll have 40, 1 minus 40, else is going to be 0. Yeah. Then our position, if active form is true, we'll have a relative, else we'll have absolute. Then left, active form, and if active form is true, then have 0. If active form is false, then we'll have 50%. And the last one is translate x, and we'll have active form is true, then 0. If it's not true, then minus 50. When that is done, now have transition. Transition type spring. So if you've used framework motion before, you know the transition type, it has many values that can be here. Or this spring like it bounces. That's what spring does, just as the name says, spring bounces. So the stiffness is like how strong the bounce is. Then the damping, it's just all these are just to improve the animation, to make the animation look cool. Sorry. Class name, flex, items, center, justify center. Then you're going to still use let me use templates literals instead of just normal this thing. Okay, so that we can add a conditioned style. We'll have active form, if active form is true, then let's have a width of 60%. Let's have a width of 60%. Then else can have a width of full. So yeah, this is it. Then we'll now make use of this, the main. Now make use of the main. You can now pass in some props to the main. You see where the main is. That was because of the stylings that we did. Okay. So on login, click we have handle login click. Okay, then on register click we have handle register click. Then on logo click we have handle logo click. So that is all for the main section. So I think I'll just have to complete the setup for this page, then we'll now go and design these pages individually. So the next we'll have the animate presence with same mode of weight, and now we'll have a condition of rendering. So we can say active form. If active form is true, then render something. What are we going to render? We're going to render a motion div. We're going to render a motion div. Then inside the motion div, we're going to have a key. Just like we had a key here, we're going to have a key, this one. So key is now we're not going to use template literals again because it's going to be dynamic. So form. So depending on what the active form is, if it's like form login or form logout, depending on what the active form is, that's what we're going to have here as the key. Then the next one is the initial. We're going to have x of 100%. Sorry, it's going to be in like this. So I have 100% opacity of 0. So we don't want to see it at the initial time. So we must now animate. We're now going to have x 30% and opacity of 1. Now I want to see it now because it's going to animate from 0 to 1. Then 1 you can see it. Then exit. So when it's exiting, okay, we now have something like x. It's going to be 100%, and opacity is going to be 0. So it's going to go back to where it's coming from. You see, it's just what we have here. Is what we have here. I was taking it back to where it's coming from. Then the next part, the transition. The transition, we are going to have a type of string stiffness, and this is just going to be the same thing with this one. I want everything to be the same. Then the class name, we're going to have absolute and a top of 0, right of 0, width of 80%, this particular section. So now again, we are still going to render the forms with a condition. So depending on which one that is active, the active form, if active form is equals to login, then give us the login, then with the unswitch form and passing the distance as a prop. Same thing with the register. Depending on what the active form is, then we are going to see the element, the component. Okay. Did we create this the handle form switch? We did. So what's the error about? Um, let me refresh this page. Okay, so everything is okay. So now we are going to start making the designs. Now we are done with the layout. We're now going to make the designs. Start from the main. So here I'm going to import some icons. I installed the React icons, so you can go ahead and install your React icons if you want to use React icons. So npm install React icons. So I've already installed mine. You can go ahead and install yours. Yeah. So let's import some icons. Import from React icons FA. So we're going to use the FA icons, which we are going to only use FA Instagram and FA YouTube. That's the only thing we are going to import here. And we're now going to call on the props, import the props that we're going to use. The on login, click. Let me be sure. So on the main, on login click, I'll just copy all this from the register click and on logo click. So go back to main and paste it. So just add my comments and delete. Yeah, just to make it stand straight. Okay. Now I'll delete this and add some styling to this. Class name of flex go items center, then justify center, then empty 20, and inside we have a div of class name, margin bottom NB12, then the text is going to be to Excel. The font is going to be bold. Our cursor is going to be at a pointer. Text of blue 600, and justify center, items center, then last one is a flex core. So I'm going to make this page just going to make it to be wrappable. That's wrap. Activated the wrap. Just go to here, you see this wrap. Yeah, and we'll add the on click, because this is going to house the logo than the name. This is going to house the logo and the name. So anytime that this place is clicked, we want it to take us back to how the application was initially. So we'll have the logo click. Yeah. So we're not going to use import, make use of the logo icon or the logo image that I initially said I have img. So in Next.js, you just have to just direct it like this. Yeah, direct it like this. I have logo.png, and the alt I'll just leave it as logo. And you can add a class name to just reduce the size of the logo. I'm going to have 70 pixels. Then a h1 with a class name of text white, and drop shadow of md, and the name is just going to be noble dev works. Then that is for this. Then outside that div, create another div with a class name of flex co gap of 4 and a width of medium. So if you're confused about any of these types, you can just hover it. If you hover on it, you see this is just like saying in your normal CSS width of 28 rem or 448 pixels. Okay, so here we have button. I want to create two buttons. I'm going to create two buttons, one that says login and the other one that says register. So for this one, we're going to add an on click, which is going to be on login click. So whenever I will click on this, we want the function for the login to run. Then a class name of padding x 6, padding y 2, bg, that's the background of white, text of black, rounded, medium, hover. On hover, I want to have like a background of yellow. I think it's just 500. Let's have yellow 500. And cursor of a pointer. Transition colors, border white 20. Then I think that is it. Okay, then for the register, we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to copy this and paste here and change this to this. So that is that for okay, for the log for the buttons. The next one is just going to be the icons. I have a div with a class name margin top of 14, gap of 6, flex, justify, center, items, center. I know this error is here, but we are still going to tackle it. Let me just finish up with what I'm doing here. Span, I have a span of FA Instagram and duplicate it and have FA YouTube and Ctrl S, and actually I have a size of 40, and the same thing with this one, size of 40. Ctrl S. So this is it for the main section. We've completed the design. I don't know what is wrong with this. It's supposed to complete the loading. So this is it. This is what we have. If I click it now, you see the login. If I click register, you see the register. It's more going to, it's going to be like this. If I click this one, then if I click on this one, it's going to come back to the center. Let's make this to be centered. This items center. I think we skipped flex. Okay, so that is it for this two. We are going to go to the register section, and it's just going to be as simple as the main section, but this time around we are going to make use of the React hook forms. I mean, you're going to see how simple it is to make forms, to validate forms, to make sure your forms are just as clean as possible. So let's get into it. First, as usual, we are going to import our use form from React hook form. We are going to import use form, and we are going to import something from React icons FA. So we have FA long arrow alt right. So we're going to import this, and also we are going to import the props that we are going to use. So the onSubmit prop, onSubmit, and the on logo click. So that's all for the importing. So now to start with importing and making use of the React hook form by using the use form. So we have this const registrar const, this is equals to use form. So inside this use form, you can get the registrar, the handle submit, and the handling of errors. So you have access to your errors. So this is just telling React hook form to track the value of the inputs that we are going to assign to this. You see how it works. Then the handle submit is just going to try to check all the forms before we are able to submit it, to be able to validate it without you writing any if else statements to check if this is empty or not. So let's just get into it. So we are going to have, instead of a div, I'm going to have a form here. I'll clean this. Inside the form, we're going to have the onSubmit. The onSubmit is just going to have the handle submit from the use form. Then we're going to pass in the onSubmit that I will have from the props. Okay. Then after that, we now have a class name. Class name of padding y 10, padding x of 14, width of full, max width of 2XL, text of white, rounded, LG, shadow large, and okay, we are going to make it transparent. We are going to make the background transparent. So this is why we are going to have the minimum width. No, we're not going to have the minimum width. We're going to have like a backdrop of blur, medium, then the background of white. Then this is just like dividing the background. It's not going to be too wide. It's not going to be you just see the outcome when I'm done. Then the border, then border of white. I'm also going to reduce the brightness. Then relative. So inside that we have a span. I'm just going to have a span here. For if you remember, there is an icon pointing at the left, so that you can also click there or click on the logo. So this is that icon. It's just going to be this icon that I imported here. So just do paste it and close it, and give it class name of BG yellow 500 of you can give it a size of 14, rounded or full, flex, justify, center, items, center. Yeah. Okay. Absolute top of half. Let me just say top of half, 1/2, and that will do. Then a left of 7, then a cursor of pointer. So I think these values it works for me. So maybe when if you are recreating it, you can change the values and see what works for you. So here I have a h2 with the class name of text to Excel, a font bold, a text white, and it says register. Okay, I'm just pasting. This video is becoming much longer than I expected. Just pasting this, then I'll paste in other things, then I'll explain it. Just paste some part of it. Okay, So this is just what I pasted. So this is just a div with a class of margin bottom 4, then an input, then the error. Now we're now going to make use of the use form from the React form. So it's just going to be, when you write in this input, you have your normal placeholder, the class, and the type. These are just normal things that you do in your normal input. But this time around, we're just going to have this section. The registrar, you spread it out, then you have the first name. This is just going to be the name of your input, because of course you're going to have multiple inputs, but for this is just going to be the name of your input, and this is what you're going to see in the error when something happens. First name is required, so it's telling you that you need to put in your first name and enter your first name, the placeholder. Then the error, you're getting this error from here, error dot first name. You're just going to make sure that this name here is the same thing that as this name here, otherwise it's not going to work, and it's still going to be exactly the same thing with this name that's going to be here. Okay, so let me make this bigger. Click on register. You see, so we have this. Seems that I didn't finish up the design for this. Okay, okay. Flex, then size. Size of what size did we give? 40. So size of 40. So yeah, that should clear out that. So I'll just copy the rest. Just copy the rest. So it's reloading. Yeah, so if I click on register, you see we'll have something like this. If I click on this, it should take us back. I think I've not added the on click to it. Yeah, add the on click. Okay, sorry for the mistakes, guys. So yeah, so we'll have this. You see it's transparent. You can, if you click on this, you see first name is required, last name is required. You see how neat it is. I didn't have to write a bunch of codes to start writing all these things. No if or else statement. So if I click on this, it should take me back. It's not taking me back. This is on logo click. Save. Let me add refresh this. When that is happening, let me go through and see if there's any other thing that we didn't put. So instead of login, we can have register. Okay. Can have this. Why is this not working? Well, let me see if I click on this. See, if I click on this, it works. But if I click on this, it's not working. Let's check. Okay. So here I'm not passing it here. So on logo click, I can copy this, close this, and just pass it here also. Control save. So that if I click here now, yes, it closes. Isn't that nice, guys? So let's work on the login section. So guys, I'm just going to make a lot of copy and paste. The video is already too long. I'm just going to copy some code here and paste it here. Okay. So this is just the use form I'm importing from this place, and the same thing that we had on the register page. So still going to just copy this and copy the props. So basically I'm just duplicating the page, the register page, because it's exactly the same thing that we have here in the login page that we're going to still have in the register page that we're going to have in the login page. So you can look at it. It's just the form having the on click or on submit. It's just going to have the handle submit from the use form, and the props that will be imported, the on submit. Basically, it's just the same thing. So we have this. If you click on it, it tells you email is required, password is required. So I've completed the design and implementing React hook form. So if you click on the login, it animates like this. If you click on register, it brings out register. Click on login, does like this. If you click here, it takes you back to your initial state. Initially, I wanted to do to write the submit function in the page.js, but that doesn't seem practical. So let's just do it in here in the login page. So we'll just create a function const submit is equals to just a function. So here, we already passing it here. So I'm going to just add this data here and console.log the data. So save and refresh this page. Okay guys, let's just give it a try. Use my email 1234567, then click login. There's inspect, and we have a response here. So just as simple as that. And that is it, guys. You now have a fully animated login and registration form with smooth transitions and real form validation. If you learned something new, drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Thank you, guys.